Welcome to African Folktales by GiftBliss. Before we dive into this powerful tale from the heart of Africa, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share it with someone who loves African culture. Also, turn on the notification bell so you never miss another story from GiftBliss. In the heart of West Africa, surrounded by hills that touched the sky and rivers that whispered ancient songs, there stood a mighty kingdom called Eri-Olu. This was no ordinary land. The kingdom was the envy of all neighboring lands. It was a land where rivers flowed with sweetness, the soil yielded gold, the air carried the scent of royal incense, and the people lived in prosperity. But within the walls of the golden palace, King Ajasa, ruler of Eri-Olu, was troubled. He had ruled with power for over 20 years. His throne was carved from the sacred Iroko tree, and his word was law. He had 30 wives, each more beautiful than the last. Each wife came from noble bloodlines, married to strengthen alliances or reward loyalty. But none of them brought him peace. Yet something within him felt incomplete, as though he were wearing a crown of fire. Each night, Ajasa tossed in his sleep, haunted by dreams of fire engulfing his palace and a woman in white whispering, "Only one can bring you peace. The rest will bring ruin." One morning during the festival of Ogun, while the people danced in celebration of the god of iron, a strange man appeared at the palace gates. He was old, with skin like dry bark and eyes that were misty yet piercing. He wore a cloak made of raffia, and his walking staff seemed older than the hills. The guards, about to chase him off, stopped when the old man said, "Tell your king this, his peace lies in the hands of the woman who carries no title, no name, and no pride." Curious, King Ajasa summoned the seer. "Who is this woman?" he demanded. "Your crown is heavy because it rests on sand. Your peace lies with a woman who owns no name, no pride, and no royal blood. She will come when you drop your crown to find her," the seer said. "But beware, she is not who you expect. Once she enters your palace, no other wife will survive." Before vanishing from the palace courtyard, the ancient seer gave King Ajasa two cryptic signs to identify the woman destined to bring him peace. A bird with white feathers will follow her wherever she walks, and her laughter will calm even the fiercest storms. The king was told to watch for a woman who carried no gold, but whose presence made trees sway and infants smile without cause. "You will know her not by her beauty, but by the stillness in your heart when she speaks," the seer warned. "When you stand before her, the earth itself will hold its breath." Before the king could question him, the man vanished. All that remained was a white feather, gently falling to the ground. At first, King Ajasa dismissed the prophecy of the strange old seer as the ramblings of a wandering mystic. "What more could I possibly need?" he questioned, waving off the warning like smoke from a fire. He already had 30 wives, each chosen with political wisdom or breathtaking beauty. The thought of seeking out an unknown woman with no royal blood, no title, and no pride seemed beneath his status as ruler of the great Eri-Olu. He told his chiefs, "This is no time for riddles. I rule a kingdom, not chase dreams." He returned to his throne, believing that the vision would fade like a passing wind. But the white feather left by the seer lingered unnaturally in his chamber, never blowing away, no matter how hard the wind tried. Then the troubles began. The rain that once came in perfect season was now delayed for months, and when it did come, it flooded the yam fields. Disputes once settled in a day now dragged on for moons without peace. 3 of his sons fell sick with fevers that no herbalist could cure. Strange dreams haunted him every night, the same vision of a burning palace and the whisper of the woman in white. Even his favorite lion, the symbol of his strength, refused to eat or rise from its den. The people began to murmur, "The gods are angry." It was then, with a heavy heart and a flicker of fear, that King Ajasa realized the seer's words were not riddles, they were warnings. And so he removed his crown, donned the robes of a traveler, and set out to find the woman who could bring him peace. King Ajasa's journey to find the mysterious woman foretold by the seer was riddled with danger and trials that tested both his strength and spirit. Disguised in a traveler's cloak and stripped of his royal guards, he ventured into unknown lands where his crown held no power. In the thick forests of Olekan, he was nearly devoured by a panther until a sudden thunderclap scared the beast away. Days later, while crossing a shallow river, he was attacked by armed bandits who mistook him for a rich merchant. Though he managed to escape with a bruised arm, he lost his food and horse and had to trek barefoot for miles through scorching sands and snake-infested marshes. Weary and wounded, the king wandered into a strange village where no one spoke his tongue, driven by the fire of prophecy and a strange peace that whispered to his heart. On the 14th night of his journey, he dreamt of a woman in white placing a cool hand on his chest, soothing his pain. When he woke, he followed the river's bend near the river Ora and stumbled upon a hut surrounded by healing herbs. He met Ebera, a soft-spoken maiden who worked as a herbalist and helped bath the village children. He met her drawing water from a well barefoot, her presence more powerful than any throne he had ever known. She was no royal, no bloodline, no title. But she spoke with wisdom, laughed like rain, and looked the king straight in the eye without fear or flattery. Ajasa fell in love. He returned days later with gifts, revealed his identity, and asked her to marry him. Ebera hesitated. "I do not want power," she said. "And I will not compete." Ajaka promised peace. "You shall be my last wife. No other will come after you." She agreed. He returned to the palace with her and declared, "This woman shall be my last wife. After her, there shall be no other." The palace erupted. His 30 wives protested, mocked Ebera's humble origins, and warned that she would bring disgrace. But Ajasa was firm. Ebera entered the palace not in royal robes, but in white wrappers and beads made from river stones. She brought no servants, no dowry, only a calabash of herbs and a quiet presence that changed everything. Within weeks, things changed in the kingdom. Disputes dragged on for years were resolved when Ebera offered a single proverb. Famine turned to feast. The royal court, once full of gossip and power play, fell silent when she walked in. The people loved her. Chiefs feared her calm. The king adored her. But not all hearts rejoiced. 3 of the eldest wives, aged Titi and Busy, grew jealous. They believed Amara had cast a spell. In secret, they consulted a dark priestess who gave them a charm to curse her womb and sour the king's love. The charm, made of ash, vulture blood, and crushed bones, was mixed into her food. But Amara always fed the birds first. The next morning, 3 vultures were found dead on her mat. She said nothing. After their deadly charm failed to harm Ebera, the 3 senior wives, aged Titi and Busy, grew desperate and more cunning. They paid a hunter from the northern mountains, known for crafting poison darts made from the venom of black cobras, to assassinate Ebera during her morning walk in the palace garden. But on the chosen morning, a strange mist covered the palace grounds, and the hunter, confused and disoriented, mistakenly aimed at one of the palace guards. He was swiftly captured and confessed to his mission. When interrogated, he claimed he never saw Ebera, only a glowing figure walking with lions beside her. Fear spread among the servants, who began to whisper that Ebera was protected by forces unseen. Still unrelenting, the wives turned to forbidden magic. They found a blind old woman said to be a daughter of a river deity, and begged her to summon a spirit of madness to torment Ebera. The old woman performed the ritual under a blood moon and sent the spirit to possess Ebera's mind. But the moment the spirit entered the palace, a mighty wind tore through the shrine where the ritual had been performed, killing the old woman instantly. That night, Ebera stood at the palace balcony with her hair billowing like fire, singing a melody that calmed storms. The three wives, now trembling with dread, began to lose sleep and suffer strange visions. Their hatred, once burning hot, turned into fear, a deep, choking fear, for they now believed they were fighting not just a woman, but something divine. That following night, a terrible storm raged over Eri-Olu. Lightning struck the palace gates, and statues wept tears of blood. The sky thundered a warning. And then, the seer returned. Floating above the royal courtyard, his eyes now golden flames, he declared. The gods gave a warning. You did not listen. With a wave of his staff, Age, Titi, and Busy turned to stone, frozen in pleading postures. The others who conspired fell ill, one by one, with fevers no herbalist could cure. Within a week, all 30 wives had either died or left the palace in fear. In time, Amara gave birth to a son, Oba Anu, the king of mercy. She refused a crown. She sat not on thrones but beneath the baobab tree, teaching young and old alike about healing, justice, and peace. Her son grew to be the wisest king Eri-Olu had ever known. And to this day, they say, the king's 30 wives were gold, but the last wife wore wisdom. Moral lesson from this story: in a world of power and pride, it is often the humble heart that brings lasting peace. True royalty is not found in titles or wealth, but in the spirit that uplifts. Also, the older wives' jealousy led them to self-destruction, showing that bitterness only poisons the heart it lives in. Thank you for watching. I love you all.